Hi everyone, welcome back. So now we'll talk about some bacterial pathogens that affect G proteins and their normal functioning. And G proteins, and they do this because G proteins are very important proteins in our cells. We absolutely require them. And if something even goes, like if a pathogen can affect even a bit of it, like a part of it, then it will affect the complete normal functioning of that particular protein. So let's look at the first one. It's called cholera toxin. Okay, and the organism that produces it is Vibrio I think there's an E, yes, cholerae. Okay, so what happens in this? Let's look at this. This toxin works by inhibiting the GTPase activity of G alpha subunits of G alpha. So what happens is, you know that G alpha has to go from GTP to GDP and then from GDP to GTP, right? To inactivate and activate itself respectively. These cholera toxins will lock G alpha in G alpha GTP state, which we know is the active state. So if this is active, if G alpha GTP is active, then it will activate what? Adenylyl cyclase, the effector, right? If adenylyl cyclase is always active, then it will go on producing cyclic AMP. If it go on producing cyclic AMP, then cyclic AMP will cause epithelial cells to secrete water into the epithelial lumen. That leads to loss of water. Loss of water leads to dehydration. That leads to death. Okay, so this is how it works, and it would be a good idea to remember this. I like to draw it in flowcharts rather than in like sentences, just so it's easier to remember it that way. The other one is called, and we're only discussing two, it's called the pertussis toxin. Pertussis toxin. And this is produced by Bordetella pertussis. Okay, now this also works in the same way, and this basically causes whooping cough. Okay, so how does this work? It also acts by inactivating the G alpha subunits. So it's doing the opposite thing, I guess. Yeah, so it's inactivating the G alpha subunits, and it interferes with the signaling pathway that leads the host to mount a defensive response against the bacterial inflammation. So this one we don't have to go into much detail, that's all that we need to know. So produced by this, causes whooping cough, inactivates G alpha subunits. Okay, so that basically finishes. Actually, there's one little thing that I should mention here while we're here. There are so we talked about G proteins and the disorders that could be caused by them, but there's also disorders associated with G protein coupled receptors. So even if you look at and I think I'll just show you a picture here. Actually, this might not work, but anyways, so how about I just continue this in the next video because I don't want to rush through this. Alright, see you guys in the next one.